Well, for more on the fattening of America and the fat cats that benefit from it, I spoke earlier with Raj Patel from the Institute for Food and Development Policy. He's also the author of this book you see on your screen, Stuffed and Starved: The Hidden Battle for the World Food System. I first asked him about obesity and the fact that many people really don't have a choice these days when it comes to ingredients in the food they buy. Take a look.
Great point, Liz. I mean, if you cruise the aisles, excuse me, of the supermarkets, you'll find that if you go to the breakfast cereal aisle, the sort of preponderance of cereal that we're encouraged to feed to our children has sugar as a primary ingredient. And we've been noticing in the United States, really over the past sort of 40 years, an increasing trend towards obesity and overweight, to the point that the majority of Americans are overweight, and about a third of Americans are obese. Now, that's a relatively new phenomenon, and it's one that has, at some level, it's about consuming more calories than you burn. And we're encouraged, certainly by the industries that profit from this, to think of this as an individual failing. We're encouraged to think of the fact that we are so overweight in this country as a sign that we are deficient in willpower, and so that there's a big industry not only in selling us food that makes us fat, but also a billion-dollar industry in selling us food that makes us thin as well. And sometimes these industries exist side by side. Unilever, for example, owns ice cream companies as well as weight loss brands. But the fact is that the choices that we have are structured much more by the companies that make money off selling us calories and then selling us the means to get rid of it than they are to do about our individual choice.
And speaking of choices, a lot of times it's the poor people that have less choices. Talk about how often it's the poor that fall victim to this system.
Well, that's it. I mean, it seems paradoxical that in the United States, where, as I say, I mean, the majority of people are overweight, and in the United States at the moment, and people are often shocked to hear this, about 50 million Americans go hungry. That's a rough figure. I mean, 49 million in the most recent year were what's called food insecure. But it's not surprising that hunger and obesity and overweight are neighbors. And the reason the way it works is like this: that if you are on food stamps, on supplementary assistance in order to be able to make ends meet for you and your family, then what you're going to do is try and spend money on as many calories as you can. You're trying to spend money on as much nutrition as you can get. And $1 will buy you about 400 calories of Coke, but $1 will only buy you about 17 calories of lettuce. And when roughly $1.50 is what you get in terms of food stamps per meal, of course you're going to try and make that dollar count in terms of calories. And if your calorie options are limited, then of course you're going to be heading towards buying food that are rich in the kind of empty calories that are going to lead to overweight and obesity. I mean, this is a global problem, of course, but certainly in the United States we see it very acutely, that overweight and poverty often go hand in hand.
And meanwhile, it's the big businesses, the big food and pharmaceutical companies that are raking in the big bucks. Why do politicians allow this to happen?
Well, I mean, it's clear that in the United States we have the best government that money can buy. And the power of the agriculture lobby is immense. Now, while we do have some shifts in the the Obama administration towards supporting the kinds of food that are slightly healthier than industrially produced food, we still are having, we're at the level of having fights over whether the ketchup on pizzas can be considered a vegetable. I mean, when debates at the U.S. Department of Agriculture are at this kind of level, it's not surprising that that's a sign of the power of the agriculture industry to buy out concerns at a federal level around the food safety and the health of American citizens.
And that was Raj Patel from the Institute for Food and Development Policy.